Hello, this is a tutorial on Hytale's entity component system. In this video, I'm basically just going to go over the main concepts that you need to know, and I'll provide some small examples. I do plan to make a series on Hytale's entity component system where in future videos I'll go more in depth on certain topics, so make sure to subscribe so you can get notified for when those are released. Anyway, to get started, Hytale basically stores entities using an entity component system. If you've never heard of that term before, the main difference between a normal system where each entity is a Java object is that instead of having a single object, entities are made up of a lot of different components, where each component is an object. And this is a lot more efficient for quite complicated reasons, which I might get into in a future video, but it's not really necessary right now. It's also a lot more flexible, so you can just pick and choose what components and functionality your entity needs. Like if you need a health component, instead of like having to extend a living entity like you would in Minecraft, you just add a health component and that's it. So basically, you've got the store. This is the actual entity component system, and it's where all the entities and their components are stored. Then you've got a ref. This is an entity. You can basically think of it as an ID, and internally the ECS basically stores a list of all the components that each ID has. So this is obviously very simplified, and it's not actually what the ECS stores, but you can kind of think of it as a map where the ID or the entity is the key, and then it stores a list of components. And then you've got components. These are actual Java classes, so they can be stuff like UUID component, and they'll just implement component, and entities can mix and match these components. You can kind of think of them like Lego building blocks, and the entity is like the final Lego structure that you've built. Now, you might be wondering how players fit into this. Now, players are also entities. So this right here would be the player entity. And then player ref and player, these are both just components on the entity. And yes, player ref isn't the best name for the component, because a lot of people have got it confused with ref, but this is just a component. It's got nothing to do with the actual entity. Though it does store a reference to the entity, as you can see here. So I'm just going to go over what this whole snippet does. First, it gets the player ref by a username. This is just an example way to get a player ref. And if the return value is null, then that means the player is offline. And then we get the actual entity that is associated with the player from the player ref. If this returns null, then the player isn't in a world, so they could still be connecting to the server. Then we get the store from the reference. Again, this is the ECS. And then we get the player component from the store. And then we could send them a message, for example. Now, store.getComponent, this returns a nullable object, which means that it could return null. In this case, we know that a player must have a player component, so we can just assert that player is null. If we don't do that, then IntelliJ would give us an error, would give us a warning when we try to use it, because player could be null. So entities are just IDs. Components are just data. So you might be wondering how logic actually happens, and that's what systems are for. So you can register a system using getEntityStoreRegistry.register system, new damage system. This is just a class that I've made, and it extends damage event system. There is a lot of base systems that you can extend. I will leave a link to some documentation listing them all. Systems have two main functions. They've got a handle function. This runs for each entity, and it's got a query. This basically determines what entities the system runs for. One important thing to note is that getQuery is annotated with nullable, but it can't actually return a null. You need to return something, or it'll give an error. If you don't want anything, then just return query.and. This basically means that the system will only run for entities with the player component and the transform component. This handle function, you can kind of think of it as the inside of a for loop. So it's kind of similar to this, where like you loop over all the entities and then call handle with the entity. Now, I've seen a lot of people get confused about how to actually get the entity. So you just use the archetype chunk dot get reference to and then pass in the I. So archetypes, you can kind of think of them as entity types. They're basically just a set of components that an entity could have. So it could be like a health component, a player component, and a player ref component. And an archetype chunk, you can kind of think of it as a list of entities where all the entities are the same type. So like they'd all be players, for example. And then this is just an index into that list. So yeah, you just pass in list, and it's basically just the same thing as like using get on an array list. So now we've got the entity, we can get the components in the entity using the store, which is just passed in here. And then again, these return nullable, but since we've done a query, we know these aren't null, so we can just assert they're not null, so IntelliJ doesn't give a warning. And now some components can trigger other events and then they get removed. So basically there's a system which listens for when the teleport component is added to an entity, and when it's added, it removes the component from the entity and then teleports them. So that's how Hytale handles entities. So basically right here, I'm just teleporting the entity 10 units along the x-axis whenever they take damage. And then I'm adding the component using command buffer. You do need to use command buffer instead of store. So I've seen a lot of people confused about what a command buffer actually is and why it's used. So I thought I'd just make this simple example. Here we've got a list with 3 elements in it, and we're iterating through it and removing each element from the list. If you've never tried this in Java, then you probably should, but basically it throws a concurrent modification exception because you can't modify a collection while you're iterating through it. So if you actually wanted to remove things, like let's say we wanted to remove every element from this which started with a B, then basically what we would do is make a new list of all the elements that we want to remove, and then when iterating over the original list, if the element starts with a B, then we just add it to the starts with B list. And then outside of that loop, we'll loop over the starts with B list and remove everything from the original list. This is basically what the store and command buffer do. So we're basically iterating over the store right now. And then whenever we want to modify something, like right here, we want to add a component, we put it in the command buffer, which would basically be the starts with B list. And then once the system finishes running, then the command buffer is executed, so the component would be added. So now if I go into the game, and if I take damage, then I will be teleported, as you can see. The last thing to be aware of is that each world has its own ECS, and then when you're teleporting entities between worlds, like they'll get removed from the first ECS and added to the second ECS. But that also means that the ECS can only be accessed on the specific world thread. So you just need to be sure you're on the correct world before you try to access ECS. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you. If it did, remember to subscribe.